I remember back in 2012 when the news broke that Disney had bought Lucasfilm from George Lucas himself, and the immediate follow-up of "we're making another trilogy of movies." I was so excited after all this time of Lucas just sitting on this IP, it was finally set free. Together, every Star Wars fan sat and waited for 3 more years, desperately wanting to find out what this new sequel would offer. The plot of the film is incredibly similar to the original trilogy, where now that the Empire has fallen and a new republic has been born, a new threat has risen in the shadows, the First Order, who acts just like our last Empire. But this time they have a much more powerful fleet, and their home base isn't the Death Star, it's bigger. It's about the size of a planet. The new Resistance was formed in order to help combat the evils of the First Order, and we'll just call them rebels. In fact, most of their high commanders are heroes who fought and survived as the original Resistance. The plot follows a young girl named Rey who lives on the planet Jakku when she comes across a droid named BB-8 looking for a way back to the Resistance in order to help find Luke Skywalker. On Rey and BB's adventure, they run into an ex-stormtrooper who has gone rogue named Finn. They steal the Millennium Falcon to get off the planet only to be intercepted by the men who own it, Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Chewie, we're home.
Together, they run into the Resistance, fighting back the First Order when Rey is captured by their crybaby team leader, Kylo Ren. Together, Han, Leia, Chewie, Finn, BB-8, Poe amass a coordinated attack on the Order's home planet, Starkiller Base, a weapon strong enough to destroy 5 planets at a time. Finn gets to hold Anakin's lightsaber twice before being defeated by Kylo Ren, when Rey outforces Kylo and claims the lightsaber hers, and strikes down Kylo. And Poe and his team destroy Starkiller Base. Like I said, the plot is super simple. It's just the characters and locations that make the journey in this one. Yes, the complaint that this movie relies on nostalgia is very much true, but interestingly enough, it depends on the nostalgia of the original trilogy. At this time, the prequel trilogies were treated like trash, and honestly, thank God for that. I grew up with the prequels. As for the nostalgia, we see the same old characters like Han, Leia, R2, even for a brief moment Luke at the very end. You could also trade Jakku for Tatooine, Takodana for Yavin 4, and Starkiller Base for the Death Star. Star Wars Episode VII The Force Awakens is a very well put together film. Yes, sometimes it leans too hard on the nostalgia of the original trilogy, while also trying to captivate audiences for the new trilogy and younger characters. One of the greatest parts of this film is watching all the new guys grow into the characters they're going to be. From Rey learning the Force quickly, Finn finding his backbone to join the Resistance, or Kylo Ren turning completely to the dark side. The effects and sound, the score all reek of high-value production, and that's a good thing since the film cost over $400 million to make, which makes it the most expensive film ever produced. It should be noted, even 10 years later, the money spent shows off a superior product. I give Episode 7 a 4 out of 5, because there are things that just don't make sense. Let's start with our new trio of heroes. Finn is first because he's the most problematic. FN2187, aka Finn. Finn, and I'm guessing his friend, enter a fight earlier in the film on Jakku, only for his friend to get shot and die. But before this, he has to leave a nice bloody handprint on Finn's helmet for him to wash off later. Remember me. Finn is horrified by the events, and he begins to have a change of heart. What caused this to happen to Finn, the film never says anything outright. But others have speculated on the horrors of war and adrenaline. See, I always thought it was because the First Order gets their troops from basically stealing babies and brainwashing them. So why did Finn all of the suddenly change? Later, he'll betray the Order and rescue Poe, who was taken hostage, and it's remarked by General Hux of the First Order this was Finn's first and only offense. So we're to believe that suddenly Finn grew a heart, and worst of all, he grew up with these people. The Order would have been like family to him, or the closest thing he could have ever gotten to one, but the guy is just killing them throughout the rest of the trilogy. I'm sorry, but the plot gets thin here, and it kind of bothers me that there's a lack of explanation for this leap of character. Can anybody help me in the comments here? And then there's Poe, who we were left to believe he's dead after crash landing on Jakku with Finn aboard. Even Finn gave up looking for him and moved on. For like an hour straight, we won't see Poe again. But when we do, he's back with the Resistance flying an X-Wing. So he survived the crash, but how did he get off the planet without the Order noticing, since they were already on the surface hunting for Rey, BB, and Finn? Someone would have noticed a ship taking off or missing. He also doesn't really hang out with them much in this movie. The excuse being he's a pilot, so he had to lead his own team into combat. Poe is also very intelligent, speaking with a strong vocabulary, such as referring to Kylo Ren's mask as an apparatus.
The old man gave it to you.
It's just very hard to understand you with all the
Search him.
apparatus.
And last, there is Rey, the little orphan girl from the desert. Like, you couldn't think of anything different for this character's minimal backstory. It's just a half-assed Luke ripoff. But we know Luke lived on Tatooine because he had family there and Old Man Ben was trying to hide them from the Empire. Oh wait, a similar plot has been revealed by Rey in the upcoming sequels. When we meet Rey, she is alone, being a scrapper trying to make a trade for more food just to survive another day under the Jakku skies. When she first saves BB-8, we learn she can talk and understand different languages, which is a sign of intelligence. We also learn she is a fighter and a resourceful pilot, before we find out she's a quick learner, even besting Kylo Ren in a mind-reading force battle. Another fantastic trait of hers is that, very much unlike Luke, she's not annoying. Every time I see Luke, I feel like he's about to cry about not being able to go to the academy this season because of the harvest. Rey seems to just suck it up and uses that to get stronger. My only question was, when Rey finds Anakin's lightsaber on Takodana in Maz's cantina, why does it actually call to her? And why does Maz have it? It was last seen falling through the sky in Cloud City when Luke dropped it in Empire Strikes Back. Now let's talk briefly about how toxic the Star Wars fanbase really is. These three characters are outstanding additions to the series. Having a female Jedi lead the way, unlike the last two trilogies where we just followed dumb boys. We have Finn, a reformed stormtrooper, but no, what these toxic fans see is a woman and a black man, and they took to the internet to hurt them. These horrible acts don't just end here, but continue for each following installment. There are many things to be upset with in Star Wars, but racism and sexism are not any of them. The reasoning for their castings have to do with some leaked emails from Sony Picture executives, behaving disgustingly towards who to cast and who not to cast, never based on their performance but on their appearance. So the good folks at Disney said, you know what, we can do better than you. This movie made $2 billion at the box office. I think they won. Lastly, I wanted to break down Kylo Ren, whose actual name is Ben Solo. He is the son of Han and Leia. Han's explanation of what happened between Luke and Ben is that Luke went off with Ben to rebuild the Jedi Order, only to find out Ben was completely evil and destroyed what Luke has built. Driving Luke away to think of his failure, Ben joined the side of the Supreme Leader Snoke. Kylo tends to spend time meditating before his grandfather's old melted helmet. How'd he get this? This should have been melted down completely at the end of Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Like Grandpappy Annie, he has taken up the dark side and wields a beautiful lightsaber. Red in color with the crossguard on the hilt, but it's the fact that the blades look frantic compared to better made sabers. I believe this is a representation of his internal conflict. He also dresses in all black with his hood and a mask that's somewhat similar to Vader's, obviously inspired by it, and it's good protection. Remember kids, if cranky baby Kylo can wear a helmet, you should too. He also has a lot of anger, to the point where Abrams, the director, created a scene to just make fun of him. A lot of the backstory to Ren will make more sense in the next installments, but for now they wanted to keep him in the dark from audiences, which makes sense. The best sequence is towards the end of the film, when Kylo Ren runs into his father Han. This scene is actually phenomenal, and it all has to do with the lighting. It tells you everything. There is a small opening on the outside which allows a beam of light to enter into the dark interior of Starkiller. As Han begins to talk down Kylo from a fight, wanting to bring his son home, the moonlight begins to fade, and now there's only darkness, and the red glow of his saber, and then he kills Han Solo, and this is when he has finally embraced the dark side. So not only were we learning about our new heroes, them growing up, but Kylo even has some growth as a villain. BB-8 is an awesome addition to the franchise. A cute little ball droid who's very expressive. We see that he has all sorts of gadgets to utilize, such as his grappling hooks to help pull himself up, or when he flips off Finn for lying. What is also very cute is that there are 3 different models that were made, and one of them was able to stroll around without any green screen help. As for the cute noises we hear from BB, the filmmakers brought in 2 actors for consultation, Bill Hader and Ben Schwartz.
Yes, the Elenium system, that's the one. Get us there as fast as you can.
I'll drop you to Panema Terminal. I need the bonding tape.
Oh, C-3PO. No one cares you have a red arm. People complained about Jar Jar, but this guy gets really under my nerves. R2 doesn't need a companion, but if he did, we have so many other droids to choose from. Not this talking piece of trash Anakin purposely left behind as a child.
Look who it is. Did you see who?
Captain Plasma? A failed Boba Fett attempt? What's the point? She shows up only a few times, but we never see her in combat. A wasted potential and another excuse to sell toys. And lastly, there is Supreme Leader Snoke. We do not know much about him, other than he appears either severely damaged or was born uniquely. He is the leader of the First Order, and he only appears in holograms, and when he does, he makes himself big. We'll see him in the next installment, but he's not that big. I've got more to say about this guy, but I'll put it on the back burner for next time. Yes, many have compared this episode to the original New Hope, and while it has many of the same story beats, Episode 7 improved a lot with these modern updates. Just a side note, Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope actually sucks, but that's for another time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I very much enjoyed rewatching this movie. It's been 10 years now since it was released, and to give it that much time to ferment in my mind, every moment was exciting. I really enjoyed seeing Kylo Ren again. I don't know what it is, but if you've got a red lightsaber, I'm probably gonna fall in love with you. Bye.